What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Untamed Opinion. I am joined again with Fernando. Our Twitter handles are right down there. Check us out. Follow us, subscribe to this YouTube channel, Untamed Opinion, as we will come with more hurricane content and other Dolphins content, other sports content as well in the future. But today we're going to be talking about the Hurricanes. We're going
Yes,
to
sir.
talk about the season we just had, this the off season, and a little bit about the season upcoming. We're just going to keep it to about 20 minutes or so just to quickly talk about it because we're very passionate about the Hurricanes. And what say you, Fernando?
Hey, how we doing, Dan? Long time no speak. We haven't done this since the
I
Florida
know.
State game,
Yeah,
but
it's been a while.
up and down, up and down. Hey, but I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come, man.
Yeah, but we haven't been able to do this for a while. Scheduling conflicts. We haven't, just timing of things hasn't happened. When you have children and life happens, you know, you got to be able to just pick your time. And we've been actually trying to schedule it for quite some time here.
Yeah,
And then either you have to reschedule, I have to reschedule, and finally we can sit down and talk about the season and talk about the season that's coming up and what we're going to be expecting. And
yes,
I
sir.
know I know about you, but I'm really excited.
So am I. So am I, man. Like, yeah, the season didn't finish like the way we wanted it to. Yeah, it was a little bit up and down, and obviously the North Carolina game was super disappointing about how we could not stop the run. But obviously, if you take a step back and look at the big picture, it's look at what we had in 2019 to what we have in 2020. So you honestly had to sit down, take a step back, look at how it finished, and it's like, did you imagine that we would have finished the season the way we did, or even had the season that we had? The only losses we had were the Clemson, North Carolina, and the bowl game. And in the bowl game, we lost Derek King in the second quarter. So I mean, I really can't be angry when you take obviously in the moment you're upset about it, but you can't be angry about how this season came out and what our future is looking like, man. Like especially with Alabama coming less than 300 days away.
No, I agree. With the season we just had, it was disappointing at the end. You had the two losses in a row, kind of reminiscent of the previous season with the three losses in a row, and the season before that when we lost to Pitt and Clemson in the ACC championship game, then again in the bowl game. So it's kind of having that reminiscent. Can we get over that hump and finish the season with a win? But like you said, and I completely agree with you, when you step back and you take a look at how the season was, given all the obstacles the Kings had to face, along with basically every college program out there, with COVID and everything, Miami was still able to get 11 games in, and they actually had to navigate right at the end. They had to navigate and shift the schedule around. They were supposed to play at Wake Forest. That got canceled. They ended up picking up Duke. They moved the North Carolina game. We had to move the Georgia Tech game. We didn't end up playing that one.
Hmm.
So they had their challenges themselves. And Manny Diaz and the staff did an incredible job managing the COVID situation within the team, and you got to give the players credit as well because they were able to actually still play these games. And there was two games that we didn't even know until after the game that there were certain games that were not even going to get played. They were this close to not getting played. The Virginia
Yeah,
Tech
yeah,
game,
absolutely.
and I believe it was the
Absolutely.
Duke game, but the players like, no, we got to play.
Yeah.
So as far as this past season, 8-3 from where we were at 7-6, but I think the number one observation this year, I think it's the attitude and the nonstop playing from beginning to end with this team. Games we would have lost last year, we would have lost this year, or we lost last year, we would have lost this year. That type of thing.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
won the games
absolutely.
we would have lost with that
Hmm.
with the attitude last season. We kept fighting and fighting and fighting no matter what, whether we were ahead or we were behind. Think of the North Carolina State game. We were down by 10 going in the fourth quarter,
Yep.
and we won. And you think about the Pittsburgh game, didn't go all the way, but guess what? You did enough to win. The Virginia game, I was there.
In your game.
It
Yeah.
started off great, and
In your
then it
game
was
is
just a
the
struggle. So
yeah.
no matter what, they kept fighting. No matter what, the Oklahoma State game, yeah, they
Yeah.
were down. I mean, nothing was going their way. They couldn't do anything right. Down
Yeah.
21-0 before your eyes can blink. And guess what? They only lost by 3 points, and they fought all the way back with the backup quarterback in Perry. So they can continue this forward, and it's a very exciting season.
I mean, you hate to use the word swag and culture and all this, but honestly, you see it. You can see it on the field. You see it with the recruits that are coming in. And, I know we're going to get into it a little bit, but you see it with the guys coming back.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like we had this conversation off air a couple of days ago. What brings what brought, what where we could have been ahead in the game is when Damian McIntosh and Kendrick Norton left their junior year. They got drafted. One was drafted in the 5th round or the 7th round or undrafted. Like these guys needed another year in the college level to develop themselves, to get more film, to up their draft stock. And it helps the university at that because the way you win is by having older guys on the line. You don't want to be putting out there true freshmen every year. We don't, like, hey, we have the guy, Leonard, the kid from Palmetto, Floyd. Huh?
Leonard Taylor.
Leonard Taylor. Yeah, we have him. Obviously, we want him to play. He's a 5-star, but you don't want him out there getting 40, 50 snaps against Alabama. Like, hey, let him get his 20 snaps in there and let now Silvera coming back, Miller coming back, Ford coming back. We have now depth, which is what we needed. We needed depth, and we needed seasoned players, that have been in a college weight room for more than 1 year, 2 years, and we need men there in the middle. And this is definitely what you can see it changing, and we're going on the right direction. And we're going to see where we're at with the national champions Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes, but the next topic here is going to be about the coaching changes because I know you and we follow a lot of the different Hurricane Twitter accounts and the blogs, and I read a lot of articles, and a lot of fans are talking about they want to get fire Blake Baker and all that stuff, and I understand why they would, and I understand their gripe and everything like that because it seems like the defense has regressed a bit. Understandable that you'd want to get rid of the defensive coordinator. Manny Diaz, I know, has heard a lot of the noise, and a lot of the coaching changes happened. Last year, guess what happened? Enos left. He cleaned house on the entire offensive side of the ball. Got Rhett Lashley, got Rob Likens, got Garen Justice, and they really set the tone on the offense. And Manny said, "Hey, Rhett, you take care of the offense. Here's a staff. You do you." And what he did, he kept the defense nucleus there with Ephraim Banda and with Mike Rumph and everything like that. Well, it kind of took a step back in some ways with the defense. They had really good moments. They had really good games. Like the Pittsburgh game, they held them to 4 field goals. Mm-hmm. And that one touchdown, I don't pin that on the defense at all because you can't start on your own 1 yard line and expect to stop them 4 straight times. You held 4 field goals. You held Virginia in that rushing attack. You held Florida State to virtually nothing. They had 10 points. It was virtually nothing, and you had a field day. You blanked out Duke. Okay, other times it could have been better. I agree. But just like what you said, it's the depth that they have at the positions that's going to make or break certain one side of the ball or the other, or the entire team. So the coaching changes that are very notable, obviously on the defensive side of the ball now, Mike Rumph is going to recruiting. DeMarcus Van Dyke came as a positional coach, along with Coach Robinson. I forget his first name, Tavares Robinson.
Oh, yeah. T-Rob.
T-Rob. He's from down here. He went to school down here. He coached down here. He's recruited high level cornerbacks, which is exactly what we need. And he's putting there's even a first, second round guy in J.C. Horn, I think is his name, from South Carolina. And he's been everywhere he's gone. He's produced 4 and 5 stars and put him into the NFL. And that's the one position we need.
So it's not just the biggest thing with T-Rob is that, like you said, he's from down here. He played in the SEC at Auburn. The guy recruits not just DBs though. He was huge in bringing in
linebackers,
Henderson to Florida when he was at Florida, but he was huge in getting Scarlett, the running back who went over there to Florida. He doesn't just recruit DBs. Sure. He is homebred, born and raised Miami-Dade, and he's going to recruit all positions and bring the players. And another big keep was DVD. DVD staying is huge because he's from here. He's from the Miami Gardens area. He went to Pace High School. He knows the kids. He knows the coaches. Carroll City, Miami Central, Miami Northwestern. Hey, all these winning programs that we have down here, we have guys that are from there and are going to keep bringing in winning, recruiting winners and players that are ready for the next level and ready. And that's what we need. We cannot. Hey, if you look at the national championship game, between Alabama and Ohio State, 6 of the 8 starting defensive backs were from Florida. That's ridiculous. Oh, how are we not getting some of these 5-star players? We need, if we can get these 5-star players, especially at cornerback, like if you see Alabama, you see Ohio State, you see Clemson, they're all coming down here and taking our cornerbacks. Yep. Like Silvera said, you got to make the crib great. And the way it first starts with recruiting. It starts with recruiting and then obviously coaching. And a big thing, like we were talking about earlier, with Manny Diaz taking over the defensive play calling. Yep. Do it, man. Do it. Hey, don't forget the offensive side. Don't forget of being there for your team. Hey, you want to keep doing the 2 rings. You want to keep doing the turnover chain and all this. Like, that's cool, man. But we got to win. At the end of the day, you got to win. And come Labor Day weekend, we got to come out there and ready to fight. Because, like, hey, Alabama doesn't they don't rebuild. They don't rebuild. They just reload and they go again. They're going to bring out the same 6'4", 300 monster defensive tackle out there. And that's why we need Gainer coming back. That's why we need Shafe coming back. That's why we need all these offensive linemen. And the biggest thing is having spring football so these guys can actually go out there and compete. If these guys are coming back, if I'm Manny Diaz, I'm telling all of these guys, hey, if you come back, your starting spot is not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. If one of these freshmen or one of these underclassmen come in here and say, yo, it's my time to shine, it's my time to ball, yo, they need to play. The best 11 on the field need to play. Hands down, no questions asked. It has to be that way. And hey, I don't care if you're a senior, I don't care if you're a junior, sophomore, freshman, if you're one of the best 11 on the defensive, offensive, or special team side, you're on the field. Hands down, that's it.
Agreed. One last coaching addition. Well, it's kind of addition by subtraction. I think it was Coach Stroud that ended up going to a senior advising role. He was a defensive line coach. Here comes back Jess Simpson, who coached the defensive line along with Jonathan Garvin and the defensive line that created a lot of havoc back in 2018. Jess Simpson was just currently with the Atlanta Falcons. Now he's back, and that's a great thing.
And he's coming from the NFL. So obviously the 2022 class has a whole bunch of defensive linemen because we need that edge rusher. We can't keep referring back to the transfer portal, but like now with DeAndre Johnson coming, hopefully we can get some of these young defensive ends to start producing some Jafari Harvey and Cameron Williams, Chance Williams. Hey, we need to get pressure. And this is an NFL guy with NFL experience, and hopefully he can bring that to our defensive line, which we need. He's not going to be a huge in recruiting, but I mean, hey, we still need the product on the field.
Yeah. So that's going to transition us into players and the transfer portal. So we got a lot of great news. The reason why I wanted to hold off making this video is because a lot of these decisions needed to be made before making this video, because I don't want to be guessing, and a lot of it was 50-50. We weren't sure who was going to come back and who was going to go to the draft, and we weren't sure what was going to happen in the transfer portal. Well, as of January 20th, we have basically all those answers. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. 10 returning starters, just like you mentioned earlier. Depth. It is about experience. It is about a veteran team. When was the last time we had 10 returning starters on offense?
Including
the quarterback. I mean,
thank you, COVID, right?
Yeah, thank you, COVID, because they get another year of eligibility, I guess. Uh, but when was the last time we had this much of a veteran team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, just
Thank you.
overall? But we have 30 players on the roster that are entering their fourth year at the college level. 30. Most of them are starters. All five offensive linemen coming back, all three running backs, every receiver, including Charleston Rambo that we got in the transfer portal. The only offensive starter we don't have is Brevin Jordan. And
Dude,
so,
even Tate Martell's coming back. Even Tate Martell's like, yo, I need to get back on this. Like, yo, we have so many people coming back. I know Nkozi's gonna finish his degree and then he's gonna go somewhere else. Hey, Nkosi, thank you for everything you've done, bro. Hey,
nothing
Kane
but
for
love.
life. Kane
Nothing
for
but
life.
love. Absolutely, nothing but
Kane
love.
for life, dude.
He deserves to go find somewhere that's he's gonna be able to go play, because he's not gonna play in front of King, and he's not gonna sit back and wait. He deserves to actually go and find a place that he could start. I wish it would have worked out for him here. It just didn't in the end. But what's best for him, he's got to do what he's got to do.
Dude, you're talking about a quarterback room of De'Ara King, obviously not going to play spring ball, but hopefully he's ready for Alabama. You got TVD, who got some in-game experience last year. You're going to have Jake Garcia, who he got to play, and as he won a state championship up there in Georgia, he went all over the place, and you got him coming back. And then you have Tate Martell, who was huge. He owns every high school football college record. Like, let him come back. Let him compete. Again, the best player needs to play. Competition brings the best and the worst out of everybody. Absolutely. And the biggest thing that I'm excited about is that offensive line. The offensive line has everybody coming back. And you're talking about still Donaldson coming back, Jalen Rivers, and which I'm super excited about. Jalen Rivers coming. Hey, like, you got a true freshman who got a full year in a college weight room, getting to play against Nestor Silvera all year, against Quincy Roche all year, Jalen Phillips the whole season. What do you're not going to face too much better than that when you get out there actually on the actual field. Like, these guys make each other better in practice. And like, for you to have that experience against these guys is only going to make you better. And I hope that we have spring football. I hope it's open to the public somehow, because I'm so excited to see the competition that's going to be out there with everybody coming back, with the true freshmen that we have coming in, when we have last year's class competing and now bigger, and now in a weight room, and now they're not 18, they're 19, and now 20s. We're not depending on 18, 19-year-olds anymore. We're depending on some 21, 22-year-old. And then, King is what? He's going to be 25, 26. You know what I'm saying? The Dolphins are talking about getting Deshaun Watson, who's 25 years old. They're like the same age. Like, yo, this is what we need. This is what the Canes needed. This is Manny's long-term view with this team, is an older team, an experienced team. And that's the way we're going to get to the Clemsons, to the Alabamas, to the Ohio States, Notre Dame if they stay in the ACC. This is the way to build. This is the new wave of college football, and Manny is building it correctly. Now it's just a matter of doing it on the field.
One word: culture. This is setting the culture going forward. Hey, you know what? If you're a top, first round, second round, maybe third round pick, and everybody's grading you in the top 2 rounds, whatever. Hey, you know what? You got to go to the draft. Go make your money. Go do what you got to do. But like what you said earlier with McIntosh and with Norton, if you're grading grade, 5th round, 6th round, 7th, what are you doing going to the NFL? What are you doing? And this sets that precedent. This sets that tone, saying, hey, you know what? We're going to return. We're going to make the crib great again. We're going to establish here at UM and bring UM back. And, and at the same time, we're going to make ourselves better and make our draft stocks go up. And, with this veteran team, there's no excuses coming season not to win and be more disciplined and actually produce. Yeah, because, like you said, Navon Donaldson coming back, he wasn't here. He got into the very end of the season. They managed his snap counts a little bit. And that's going to be huge for him, because he's a very, very, very good run blocker. And what was the one thing that the offensive line really struggled at times doing was opening up holes for the running backs.
Yep.
And you could open up roles for Don Chaney and for Knighton and for Cam Harris. Good night. I'm sorry, but that's gonna.
Yeah.
You
All
think what
day.
we did? You think what North Carolina did to us is bad? Wait till we can do that against other teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you got Mike Harley coming back. He's the only de facto starter on the receivers. Everything else is up for. He's the only starter I can even name because he was consistent all year long. He played up here. The other ones have got to. I know. I know. In the beginning of the preseason before the Hurricanes, in our predictions, you really wanted Jeremiah Payton to break out. I wanted Mark Pope to break out. They had moments. They had their little moments, but they just couldn't put it together and be consistent enough. Hopefully, another year in Rhett Lashley's system. It's they have another year, another season. They have a whole off season. Really hoping that Derek King could have worked this spring with the receivers. But you're going to get some very valuable reps to the younger guys like your TVD and your Jeff Garcia, Jake Garcia, and whatnot.
Well, I know we haven't really gotten into the transfer portal stuff, but don't forget we got Charleston Rambo.
Charleston Rambo, but he's got to come out there and compete.
A boy can fly, man.
That's
he's going to fit right in, and he's going to be ready to go. And this is a guy who's been catching passes from Kyler Murray. Now the Spencer Rattler kid,
this
guy.
Kind of offense before, so he's gonna catch on quick, and he's expected to hopefully be the one that goes opposite Harley. Harley maybe moving the slot. If you can get like a Jeremiah Payton, a D Wiggins, if you can get somebody to really pick up their game the way they're supposed to, this receiving core could be very, very dangerous.
I mean, I'm tired of waiting. Wiggins. I'm tired of waiting on Pope. I'm tired, Jeremiah Payton, who I was super on. You got to play. You got to play. If one of these true freshmen come in here and they say, "Hey, I'm going to take that third receiving spot," because Charleston Rambo's not coming in here to sit on the bench. That guy's trying to build his NFL draft stock, right? You know what I'm saying? And then Mike Harley, he's not coming back. He's not coming back another year of playing free football to sit on the bench. You know what I'm saying? He's going to come in here ready to work and ready to go. Whether it's with Jake Garcia, whether it was Tyler Van Dyke, whether it's with Tate Martell during the spring until Derek King is ready. And that's a big, it's an ACL injury at the end of the day. And Derek King does depend a lot on his knee. But again, at the end of the day, you're gonna be ready to play. And your number one job is to catch the ball, Mark Pope. Hey, I'm sorry, you were a 7-on-7 legend. But the pads come on and we have so many drops, and this is the man. Again, we're from the crib, and our best receivers down here end up going to Alabama, end up going to Clemson, end up going to Ohio State or something like that. We need some of that down here. We need you guys to be ready to compete, ready to go, man. And now you have a guy like Rhett Lashley who has the offensive mind to open it up. And you have a quarterback like Derek King, who, again, we said is 25, has the experience, was a Heisman hopeful, and he's ready to go. Let's go. Let's ball, man.
With all the early enrollees coming in next, I think it's on the 21st, or I think it's coming in tomorrow. I think is when the early enrollees come into campus. A lot of receivers are coming in for early enrollee, including Jake Garcia. So that's a very, very good thing. Just a quick note before we end it here. 2019 to 2020, the offense made great strides. There's no doubting that 2020 was a success in a lot of ways for this offense. We saw the offense in 2019 just go stale. In 2020, we saw it go up. We saw a lot of flash. We saw a lot of flair. We did see some ups and downs, but
I mean, we wasted two championship defenses, 2018, 2019 with
guess
offense.
What? In the beginning, before the season ever started, I said I want to see two things. I want to see improvement on third down conversion and points per game, because third down conversions translates into points per game. Yep. Well, points per game, we went between 2019 2020 up a touchdown, up 6.2 points. Third down conversion up 13%. Yards per game, rushing, passing yards per game, total offense, all of them way up, which is a great sign. And guess what? When Rhett Lashley was in Auburn, when Rhett Lashley was at SMU, from year one to year two, went up tremendously. So that's what we can expect here, especially with a much more veteran team. a team that's been in this system already for a year, there's no excuse not to just explode and just go ball out.
And more off season, like, hey,
Yeah.
we're now in this COVID world. And last year we had 4 practices and then they shut everything down. Remember, in March. So hey, now you're gonna have a full off season to see who really fits where. Who, you don't have to wait till August to implement the whole offense.
Right.
You can implement the offense in March with the new enrollees, with the transfers that are coming in. And Red Lashley's offense should be going into a next level next year.
All right. With all that said, for what we know now, for who we know is on the team now, for what the schedule is going to be now, give me your prediction. Give me your thoughts about the upcoming season as you know it right now.
Well, hey, without knowing, hey, it's ACC championship or bust. That's what it is. The bar has been set. And we should, obviously we have the hurdle of Clemson, which is here. And we have this hurdle with North Carolina, we apparently is the new Florida State, or like, I don't even know who to compare them to because we can't beat them. It's whatever it is, North Carolina has our number and we have to beat that hurdle. So obviously the goals need to be, we have to beat North Carolina. We have to win the ACC Coastal if they go back to the division, whatever it is. We have to be in the ACC championship. Mm-hmm. Hey, obviously the end of 2019, we finished the way we did. We had to see improvement, and we definitely overachieved. Because if you look back, it's like we lost to FIU, Louisiana Tech. We were losing to teams that the U doesn't lose to. I thought that was it. Like, the U is done. And you just see that Manny's doing an amazing job. I don't care how all the flack that he's getting. Hey, look, Manny's doing an amazing job. And you can see that we're going in the right direction. But now it's time to take it to the next level. And obviously, we're starting with the Chick-fil-A Bowl against the defending national championships and champions. And like I said, they're losing a whole bunch of guys. All the guys that they're losing are going to the league. And they don't rebuild. They just reload and go do it again, man. So we got to go out there ready to go with our veteran team. And now our little 5-star freshmen that are coming in, they're ready to go because, hey, Alabama's not coming. Hey, they're not coming to play. They're not coming to play around. And we got to go out there and slap them in the mouth. I don't care. And we got to show them. I'm not going in there expecting to win, obviously. But we got to go out there and show them that we deserve to be on the same field as them. Because this is the U.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. My thoughts and predictions of this upcoming season is, number one, I just personally don't think that Miami is going to end up. I just don't think any conference is going to do the schedule the way they have it right now. I think they are going to go to a conference-only schedule the way they did it this year. I think they're going to do it for one more year. They're going to go to 10 conference games, 1 non-conference game. I don't believe that non-conference game is going to beat Alabama. But for the sake of argument, for what we know now, that's my prediction. My prediction is a conference-only schedule like they did it this past, at least for one more season. That's my prediction. Mm-hmm. But for what we know now, the way the schedule is now, I agree with you regarding Alabama. We just want to go out there and actually put on a game. I'm not expecting to win the game either, but we can't go out there and look the way we did against Clemson this past season. We can't go out there in the way we looked
LSU,
North Carolina. We have to actually go out there and actually compete.
Yes.
Let's go compete and earn the respect. You may lose. And you know what? Miami's going to be about a 12, 14-point underdog probably going into that game. But Miami does have a chance to really make it a game. Do they have a chance to win? Of course, because anybody could beat anybody at any given day. Miami's going to have to play a near flawless game against the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then they're going to play as flawless and perfect of a game as you can play. Alabama's losing a ton of talent. But like you say, they do nothing but reload. Their backup quarterback's already one of the Heisman favorites. It's crazy.
Yeah, for
I don't even know who the guy is.
That's just Alabama. That's just Alabama football. And it's just, you have to take advantage. Like we did on our first video that we did, I was saying I wanted to face Clemson right away because, no preseason, no spring football, none of that. Like, that might be a little bit of an advantage because, like, hey, they're losing what? They're starting running back, half of their offensive line, their quarterback, their Heisman winning wide receiver. Like, hey, their cornerback, their defensive tackle, their linebacker. They're losing everybody to the league.
They're losing an arm and a leg here, but guess what? Like you said, they have nothing but
They're
4
all
and
5 stars coming in, though.
behind them.
Yeah.
It's like how the U was when Frank Gore was Frank Gore was a third string back when Clinton.
Yeah.
So that's how Alabama is now. So my prediction as far as the season, I think they go into North Carolina. I think they just whoop their butt. I think they go in there and they just get the revenge in North Carolina. I think Miami does go in a 12-game schedule. I think they go 11-1. I think 10-2 at worst, but I think they could very well go 11-1, go and play in the ACC championship game against Clemson. They're even predicting Miami to be in the Peach Bowl, which is a substitute for the Orange Bowl because there's no Orange Bowl this year because it's a college football playoff game. So the Peach Bowl is basically in lieu of the Orange Bowl.
Hey, we have to go to Orlando every year, don't we? But again, it's got to be whether we have the non-conference schedule or not. It has to be ACC championship or bust. This year, obviously, like
no excuse.
Okay, what happened with North Carolina was actually us not going to the ACC championship was probably the best thing that could have happened. That North Carolina game was not the best thing that could happen because, you had two 200-yard rushers on us. Hey, well, you can obviously see that we're not at the level that we need to be at yet. And if we would have went to the ACC championship, we would have shown that we're not there yet. But now Manny can still go into these kids' homes. He can go into the transfer portals and say, hey, I'm a Charleston Rambo away from making it into the ACC championship. I am a James Williams away from making it to a ACC championship game.
Yep.
Like it's just we're at a level right now where we're close. We're close. Yep. It's just that those top teams are very, very, very. They're still up there. You watch the national.
We're going the right direction.
We're going the right direction.
This anymore. We're going up here.
Absolutely. If this was at the end of 2019, our morale was low. It looked like everything was going down. It looked like Manny wasn't the guy. But right now, we're in the right track. We're on the right way to go. And Manny just has to keep doing it on the field, in the recruiting. And it looks like he has a nice little team around him, especially with the hire of T-Rob, getting Simpson in here, Rhett Lashley. As long as we can keep, as long as we can keep him, because he's going to be a head coach at some point. He's going to be a head coach at some point. So it's just as a matter of as long as we can keep him. Now we have Derek King that we can get him for another year. Can you imagine this? That we got Derek King for another year. So that means Jake Garcia and TVD can battle it out to be the starter for next year, all through the spring, all through next year, and then you have a guy. It's going to be like a veteran. It's going to be like, hey, Derek King passing the baton to whether it's going to be Jake Garcia, whether it's going to be TVD, or hey, crazy as it might sound, maybe Tate Martell. Maybe Tate Martell needed this time away from the team. Maybe he needed to get off of social media and do what he had to do. And maybe he comes back and becomes this high school god that he was at Bishop Gorman, wherever it was in Las Vegas. Maybe the light bulb opens up with him. You never know. But they're still kids. They're all young. And you never know. Like, so you have late bloomers, and I'm super excited about the program. And we didn't even get into the kid from Georgia that's coming in to play corner with us.
Eric Stevenson.
Yeah, I mean, he was a 5-star. You talk about a 5-star recruit coming in and helping out. We could put him. Hopefully, Al Blades. It gets healthy. Avante Williams can whatever it is that he has gets healthy. We have now the stars. We have the players. And they just got to execute it and do it on the field.
Agreed. And it's very exciting. I know you and I, over the last few weeks, we've been texting back and forth. Every time Canes news breaks, you and I have been texting back and forth. I've been texting with another buddy of mine who's a Hurricanes fan. We actually went to UM and everything, and we're always texting and everything.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting. I will end up going to more games this year. Hopefully, hopefully they can actually have more fans in the stands this year. Because I see a lot of people on Twitter like, oh, I got my Hurricane season tickets for the first time, so forth. So it's exciting, and this is going to be a very, very good team that's going to be put on the field this year. Uh, there's no excuse for no success. There is no excuse not to succeed this year. There really isn't. And injury or no injury, next man up. We had the depth. There is no excuse. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
and so
Yeah,
that's the
no,
mentality
you're
that has
absolutely
to,
right.
and that's the culture that he's setting. That's what Manny Diaz is going to do. And I told you, I go, I know Manny Diaz is the right man for the job. You just got to get him a year or two. You got to give him some time. You can't expect him to turn around the ship and go, national champ. Nick Saban didn't do that, or Meyer hasn't done that. You can't expect us to go from 6-7 to national championship game. You can't do it. Dabo Swinney didn't do that, and he almost got fired going 6-7. So
Preach it.
yeah,
Preach
so
it.
you just got to let him do his thing. He is the right man for the job, and he's acknowledging his mistakes, or he's acknowledging what needs to change. He's not letting it linger for years and years and years like Al Golden did. And we got to give credit where credit is due.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Yes,
so that's
sir.
gonna do it. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Miami Hurricanes, and just a recap and a preview and what we know so far. Follow us on our Twitter handles. They're right down there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel Untamed Opinion to hit that red button, hit the ding. Fernando and I will be doing more video on the Canes. Upcoming soon. We're going to be doing NFL. We're going to be talking about the Dolphins.
IG Live, FB, all that. We're going to get on all this. We're going to be more active. 2021.
We're going to be more active. We're definitely going to be more active on the social media, and we're going to be talking about the Dolphins as well. Fernando and I, we get into the Dolphins. We're going to do a mock draft after free agency, and I'm looking forward to that. You know how much I love mock drafts.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Fernando. Have a good night, man. It was great talking to you, and go Canes, baby.
Let's do it. Go Canes, baby.
All right, let's do it.